Person just wants to reaction. This is how wolves broke the game. Bachal Tierzoo. Yes, it's a wolves video. Uh, I guess dogs are going to be the reason they broke the game or something. Yeah, wolves became dogs because we domesticated that. That's one of the most OP thing we've done with animals, for us at least, right? So dogs have been like a godsend, right, to us at least, to like protect our crops and all the thing, right? Even for hunts and things, right? So throughout the years, obviously. So I don't know, man. But I think that's the only. Apart from that, apart from dogs, I don't know how wolves broke the game. It's going to be interesting. Wolves are more dangerous than I thought before, right? Recently, past few years, I realized how dangerous wolves can be, how vicious they are. Not just dangerous, because there's a lot of elements how an animal is dangerous. Uh, I guess the element isn't just like point blank. It's like a video game, like who's more stronger, like vicious and all. No, it's not that. It's like psychological element. Who'll be more prone to attack? So bears are one of the most dangerous thing there is, because how they act and in which server they reside, right? So it depends in that way. So wolves could be one of those things, like like they are really aggressive, they are really vicious. Psychologically, they are just like like constantly for the hunt type of way. Yeah, let's waste one.
At the height of the Ice Age, the Tundra server was filled with incredibly overpowered beasts. Smilodon's Saber Fang perk enabled it to one-shot nearly any other player in the game. The short-faced bear was seemingly invincible, being the largest carnivorous mammal build of all time, and the cave hyena had an absurdly powerful bite force, able to crack bones and tear incredible amounts of flesh with every bite. Yet, of the Ice Age's top predators, the one which proved to be the most resilient and indeed the most successful was the wolf. Even though wolves are nowhere near as massive or as powerful as these other Ice Age monsters, today the wolf build is practically synonymous with ferocity and hunting prowess. But what is it about wolves that made them such a force of nature? Today we'll find out. So, wolves are part of the carnivoran archetype, which became popular during the Miocene update. The main perk of this archetype is something called carnassial teeth, a trait which greatly improves the ability of carnivorous builds to consume food. Rather than needing to swallow things whole, or mercilessly slam-dunking the daylights out of things until they fall apart, carnassial teeth enable the player to bite off small chunks of meat, which might seem like a small thing, but really it opens up tons of new opportunities for carnivorous playstyles, including for scavenging carcasses and for sharing larger kills among teammates. The carnivoran archetype is split into two main factions, feliforms and caniforms. There are a ton of differences between these two, but I'll try and simplify them into how the differences play out in practice.
Yeah, I'm playing Stalker 2 right now. Before the latest A-Life update. Maybe it's still the case, I don't know. The biggest thing that I hate is the fucking dogs. Basically the same thing, right? They try to chase you down in packs like 7, 8 at once and take a chunk out of you and run away. Such an annoying shit and such a deadly shit. So basically something like that, like, hunting in packs, like just taking a chunk out of you, that's basically gonna bleed you out. Like that's very lethal, right? Even in dinosaur times, what was it, like small velociraptors? What are they called? Smaller things. They were kind of like OP like that as well, right? Because of this like small chunk thing. Like they were acting in the same way.
At their core, feliforms are adapted to being hypercarnivorous ambush predators, whereas caniforms are more generalist in nature. This is most obvious in their snouts, which have different shapes and lengths. Caniforms tend to have longer, less compact snouts. This enables them to carry a wide range of different types of teeth, suited for a more omnivorous playstyle. You have some teeth for dealing damage, some for shearing meat, some for crunching bones or nuts, and even some for chewing on plant fibers. Meanwhile, feliforms have shorter snouts, enabling them to have a higher bite force, but limiting them to pretty much only having teeth meant for either dealing damage or shearing off chunks of meat. The longer caniform snout gives them other advantages too. The larger nasal cavity enables them to breathe more efficiently and intake more oxygen. This gives caniform builds much greater stamina, enabling them to run for much greater distances without tiring. It also facilitates their vastly superior sense of smell, which enables them to track prey, scavenge for food, and find teammates. So it makes sense why just about every feliform build is an ambush predator, whereas caniforms can be anything from acrobatic marine builds.
What the? I did not see that coming. This is why I love Tierzoo. Like big snouts, caniform, whatever it's like. You can have a lot of teeth. You have like big snout, so you have like a longer like a range of like smells and like taking in oxygen for greater stamina. It all makes sense, right? Now it's just gonna stay here like forever. Now I'm gonna remember this shit, right? Because dogs and like all this like wolves are known for their stamina. That's the thing, right? And their sense of smell. That is the reason, because you just like don't think about that. Like if they have this big snout, like okay, they have the big snout, like that doesn't necessarily mean it's why they have like great smell and like stamina and things. No, that is why.
To slow tanky herbivores. Focusing more specifically on wolves though, pretty much everything I've said so far about the caniform build applies here. But for a more in-depth analysis, let's take a look at the wolf's base stats. So, as ferocious as wolves are thought to be, their power stat is fairly mid for an apex predator. Wolves aren't really going to be one-shotting anything larger than a rabbit with their bite attacks. And due to the non-retractability of their claws, they aren't going to be doing much damage with their paw swipe either. And yet, taking out players above their own weight class is a signature aspect of the wolf's strategy. This is typically done by chaining strings of bite attacks together in order to inflict the bloodlust status condition, which drains the target's health and stamina over time. When executed properly by a pack of wolves, this can bring down basically anything, no matter how large the target. But obviously, since this is not a quick process, there's a lot of room for mistakes. So let's see how wolves handle taking down.
I like how in Stalker 2 they basically give you this like message. Bleeding isn't just some status effect. It can be fatal because like you'll bleed out, so you have to like put the bandage on shit like that. I love that game, man.
Damage rather than dealing it. So due to their lower defense stat, wolves are going to be mostly relying on their agility to avoid damage. They aren't totally defenseless. Their thick fur and general bulk does allow them to absorb a few blows if necessary, but it's mostly there for warmth, not combat. Their stealth stat is a similar story. Their gray fur overcoat does offer a moderate stealth bonus, but is primarily there for warmth and can be easily spotted except against a few specific backgrounds. As I sort of mentioned during the segment about caniform versus feliform builds, the perception stat is central to the wolf's game plan. Their ability to track scents is quite literally one of the best in the game, able to detect smells from miles away. But their top tier perception stat doesn't end at olfaction. Their sense of hearing is also exceptionally powerful. While many players...
Hold up there. Like wolves can smell you from miles away? Holy shit, I didn't know that. Yeah, just like... I mean, I'm not gonna go near a wolf anytime soon. But in my head, I didn't think of that. Like if wolf is like in like eyesight away, then I worry. That has always been here. Like not like I have to worry about wolves miles away. So if there's an area wolves are known to be around, you're basically screwed. Like you need to get away because wolves will catch your smell and basically are hunting you.
Believe the cat's hearing is superior. In reality, they are roughly equivalent in terms of pure sensitivity, but are fine-tuned for different purposes. Cats are much better at sensing higher-pitched sounds, allowing them to detect hidden prey nearby, such as the sound of a mouse breathing under the leaf litter. Wolves are better at sensing low rumbling sounds, meaning they can discern the location of larger prey from miles away. And the same is true for their eyesight. The cat's slitted pupils allow to strike smaller targets with perfect accuracy, but are not as useful as the wolf's large circular pupils for locking onto prey from a long distance. And as I've already alluded to, the wolf's above average intelligence stat enables some excellent options for teamwork and pack hunting. They can communicate and coordinate over great distances using their howl ability. The combination of teamwork and extremely powerful perception abilities allows wolves to control massive territories. We'll get more in depth into their hunting tactics in a bit. Mobility is their second highest stat, and this greatly assists in their ability to defeat players in higher weight classes. Simply put, wolves have an incredible amount of stamina and can run for longer distances.
Wolves have balls, man. Just attacking bear like that, fuck it up. We don't care. We hunt in packs. I don't care if it's bad.
Than pretty much anything it could ever encounter. This makes sense, as being able to sense prey from a great distance wouldn't do much good if you had no abilities to run them down. So when you add all of this up, just how effective of a build is the wolf? It really does come down to how effective their pack hunting abilities are. If you were to strip all of that away, I actually think the wolf would be mid at best. Their power stat is way below average for an apex predator, being more in line with that of a scavenger or generalist build. There's no way a lone wolf is bringing down one of the tundra server's many tanky herbivores. Yet, as a player, if all you want to do is grief smaller mammal builds like rabbits and squirrels, you're really better off playing as a smaller caniform, like a fox or a mink. In order to get the most out of a wolf's kit, you need to maximize the utilization of the wolf's perception.
I don't know. I think that wolves are one of those things, like if they didn't hunt in pack, just because of the level of intelligence they have, like they would have like survived hunting smaller things and that's it. Right? We would have seen wolves in very different form, different manner. Like we would see them in like very different way, but like they would survive. I don't know. That's what I think.
And stamina perks, which are most effective at tracking and hunting larger herbivores. So, wolves really are stuck working together. They'd be wasting their potential hunting only smaller builds, but aren't powerful enough to solo a large herbivore. Their kit only makes sense when viewed through the lens of pack hunting. And indeed, the lethality of the wolf's pack hunting tactics is undeniable. Through coordinated attacks and clever kiting, wolves are able to prove that their squads are much more cohesive than that of their targets, and split vulnerable members off from their teammates. And at that point, it really is just a waiting game. Now, it's worth noting that even in a group, it's often still too risky to just recklessly attack a tanky herbivore. Wolf mains tend to only attack a fleeing target, so as long as they hold their ground, they shouldn't take damage. But as they tire from fending off bluff strikes, and as their teammates get further and further away, most players will eventually try and make a break for it. And this is where the wolf pack will start dealing damage, by taking turns attacking their...
Yeah, isn't there a saying for dogs, like if dog hates you or like sense fear in you, like running away would be the worst thing you can do in a way, like, because they would literally chase you now. Before that, there might be a staring contest or something, but you might scare it away. But if you like run, like dog might chase you and like you're fucked. I'm pretty sure I remember that like a long time ago, like since I was a kid. Like, you know, if like dog is like growling at you, just look at it, running away would be problematic. So I'm guessing that it comes from the same type of mentality, like chase down your prey mentality.
Backhand repeatedly, they'll eventually inflict the Bloodlust status effect, which slowly drains the target's HP, leading to a guaranteed game over, at which point the entire pack splits the loot. This is overpowered in and of itself, but where it really gets broken is when you re-examine the same tactic through the wolf-human team combo. Because all of the things that make the wolves pack hunting work actually function even more effectively when paired with a human. Humans and wolves are similar in that both are exceptional distance runners, allowing them to naturally keep pace with each other and avoid slowing each other down. But in addition to having similar perks, they also cover each other's weaknesses and fill in the biggest gaps in each other's hunting strategy. Humans lack the same perception stat that wolves have. While they can use their intelligence to sort of supplement their weak sense of hearing and smell, there's really no substitute to just having a teammate who can lock onto a scent at a great distance and never lose it. But why do wolves need humans? You may remember, when wolves hunt, they can oftentimes reach an impasse due to their lack of ability to quickly deal lethal damage. Humans do not have this limitation, and can easily break the stalemate using one of their projectile weapons. The same is true on defense. The wolf's sensory abilities can detect the approach of a dangerous enemy, and alert the humans of the impending threat, a threat that wolves alone would struggle to drive away. And so domestic wolf and human hunter-gatherer players naturally made for an unstoppable force that lasted through multiple balance patches, including the end of the Ice Age and the beginning of the Anthropocene. Eventually, after spending so much time cooperating, many wolf players began speccing their characters specifically to better synergize with humans, such as a passive mental health regen aura, and higher intelligence and better communication abilities, which allowed them to handle more complicated commands, eventually renaming their build entirely from wolf to dog. And because of their optimization towards collaboration, even as...
Yeah, that is insane, right? Like they were... wolf were like pack hunters, right? And like we domesticated them, like they became like, in a way, like... they paired with humans, basically, you know, like not in a pack. Like humans don't hunt with like a pack of dogs. There's a dog. Other human might have another dog, but they're not gonna like work together as a pack. So we made them like from the pack hunter to being the basically just a human assistants in a way, and it just worked great. And the surprising thing is, they actually evolved that way. Like just because you can like take some animal like that, right, and try to domesticate them, it doesn't mean it will be successful or something. But wolves did evolve, like wolves did change like that and became dogs, which is like a really surprising thing, right? Because you can't do it like that about like all animals. You can't just like change them like that, right? They might not adapt. Humans might have to like dump them and like move on. But wolves somehow adapted, right? And greatly so, because dogs are like one of the most thriving animals on the planet because they are paired with humans.
As humans transitioned away from their hunter-gatherer playstyle, dogs still remained a relevant and high-tier choice for their party comp. This isn't to say that the wolf's only good interspecies combo is with a human, though. Among the player base who remained wild, one solid combo is with the Raven or Crow. They will often seek out a wolf player and lead them to a carcass they'd found far away. These POIs are usually hotly contested, and too competitive for a Crow to capture by themselves. So, in exchange for leading the
after Tierzoo video, catastrophic video, yeah, crows and like even Zafrank video, crows and like ravens, like in my head it's like one of the top tier, like one of the toppest animal of all time. If humans disappear tomorrow, I won't be surprised if somehow crows and ravens dominated the planet somehow.
wolf there, the wolf will chase away the other players and share the remaining spoils with the bird. But anyway, in short, wolves broke the game by finding the perfect team comp and being the #1 choice of party member for the most overpowered build the game has ever seen. They were already debatably OP just hunting in wolf packs, but were at least sort of kept in check by their mid damage. But when that limitation is mitigated, their tracking and pursuit hunting abilities are truly unfair to play against. And that's why, despite me only giving wolves a rank of A tier on my Canid tier list, when partnered up with humanity, they are legitimately broken, giving dogs the rank of S tier. Partnering up with other highly capable individuals is pretty much always the optimal strategy. And if you've followed my channel for any length of
Yeah, but like, is it fair to give dog S tier just because they're paired up with human? Isn't that like you seeing them as a team? What about dogs individually? But that itself isn't fair because dogs doesn't exist individually. Dog exists because they were paired up with humans. So their whole skill is like built around it, like how to function with humans.
time, you've no doubt heard me talk about my favorite team combo, Nebula. Nebula is a streaming service owned and operated by...
Yeah, well, go to go.nebula.tv/gift question mark. Go to original video page link and from there support this channel. And yeah, wolves, like, yeah, they are really OP. Like the whole, like I said, like dog reason was like, I knew that at the start of the video, like, yeah, dog reason is going to be the reason why they broke the game. But yeah, wolves were like all around were like pack hunters. Usually pack hunters are like OP in itself, like even the dinosaur times, right? Like those smaller dinosaurs, I'm pretty sure like they are velociraptors, right? I don't know, but the small dinosaurs who can take down big ass dinosaurs because of the pack hunting thing and like taking the chunk off. Which I remember like Tierzoo video on dinosaur about that, where they can just like bleed out the big dinosaur. Yeah, pack hunting is just too OP. So yeah, right, well, if you like my channel, subscribe and I'll see you next time.